Hi, welcome back to my channel, Open the Door. This is episode 96, Crossing the Threshold into Your Healing. Now is the time. The time is now. Time for what? Well, to start working daily towards becoming the best version of yourself if you're not already doing that. So you're probably somebody who's waited and you've hesitated and you told yourself, someday. Well, make today the day. Now is the time. The time is now. You're already holding the keys to your healing, and it's time to cross the threshold. So let's use my channel name and the metaphor of opening the door. Imagine yourself standing in a threshold of a doorway with your hand on the doorknob. You're ready to turn, but something's holding you back, and this waiting for the right time is a stall tactic. We're trapped in cycles of fear of the unknown, trapped in our emotional pain, and stuck in our comfort zones. I know, I get stuck too. Other factors that keep us stuck include these external distractions and excuses that we make, doubts in our readiness and our worthiness, which results in delays in our healing and transformation. I've stayed stuck numerous times in my life and refused to move forward and step through the door into healing. And it ended up making the process more difficult. So I'll tell you more about that in a little bit. But when you act in the now towards your healing, this is what happens. Your healing accelerates when you fully commit. You begin to shift your energy into a higher vibration, and the universe responds to your intention and your movement towards the healing. You're able to stop living in the past or fearing the future. And you unlock access to clarity and self-compassion and forgiveness. Old wounds that have been hurting your heart and your mind for so long begin to lose their grip as you walk this healing path, and you actually begin to rewrite your story. So here's some small practical steps that you can take right now, because the time is now. Journaling and meditation. Take small daily steps and with intentions toward little things like drinking more water, setting stronger boundaries with people, just little things. And eventually these little things will accumulate into a big change. So start practicing mindfulness, anchor in the present moment, use your breath to help you. Set a timer 3 times a day. I know that sounds like a lot, but you're not going to have your timer going for very long. You're just going to be, this timer is going to be a reminder for you to pause and take 3 conscious breaths and ask yourself, am I here, or am I focused on something in the past or in the future? So another practical step that you can take toward this forgiveness would be working on forgiving yourself toward this healing. Try this. Record a 1-minute video, voice message to yourself from your current self addressed to your future healed self, and say something like, today I said yes, and I finally started, and then complete that sentence. Another step you can take would be release something toxic or delete old energy drainers. So even things like old clothes in your closet, contacts in your phone who you know, people you haven't spoken to or contacted in years, social media accounts that are not for your greatest good, and even entertainment and how you spend your leisure time. You might want to rethink some of those things and then take steps towards what would be for your greatest and highest good. Another step you can take would be break the later loop, that thought we have constantly about, well, I'll just do that later, I'll do it later. Write down one thing that you've been putting off until later, and then do it today. And you don't have to do it perfectly, just start. So it could be something like setting up an appointment to start therapy treatment, finding meditation classes, purchasing that book you've been wanting to read, or my favorite, getting out into nature, taking walks. Another step to take toward your healing would be learn to respond instead of react. And that does take practice. I was highly reactive for most of my life until I started on my healing path, and little by little gained control of my emotions because I was releasing so much pent-up emotion from past trauma. Here's another step. Create a now list. Things that you're ready to release. Things you're ready to embrace. So, for example, on this list, you could write, I release guilt and I embrace self acceptance and love. And write it on a sticky note and put it somewhere where you'll see it often. And as you often repeat these little phrases on your now list, you eventually retrain your brain to start thinking in more positive ways and in the healing, along your healing path. So for your journals, for those of you that do journal work, or you could just ask yourself some questions, but start with, instead of asking questions, start with positive affirmations. So do this thing called mirror work, where you speak to yourself looking into the mirror and look yourself dead in the eye and speak to yourself like you're a dear friend. And try saying these things. I'm ready. I'm willing. I'm worthy. I choose now. I love you. I trust you. And now is your time. So, a little story about when I was refusing to move forward and knowing that I had a lot of healing to do, but choosing to remain stuck. So, a couple of years ago, it was toward the end of the pandemic, a little more than 2 years ago. Anyway, what I'm referring to is when I joined a band. And it was the first time I had sung in a band for many, many years, because prior to that, I, had this music therapy practice, and before that, I was a music teacher, but I hadn't really sung in a band just for fun for many, many years, since I was in my 20s. So I joined this band, and it was a lot of fun singing rock and roll songs and hanging out with these guys. But there was an underlying toxic aspect to this group, and I won't name the individual, but there was one person in particular who, as their mask fell off and we got to know each other more, it became clear to me that this person's intentions were not on the up and up. So I stuck it out, thinking I could help this person toward their healing journey, and there was a lot of communication going on behind the scenes with messaging and emails. And the whole time this person was playing me, leading me to think that they were also on a spiritual path. But as I said, it became clear to me that this was actually not the reality of the situation, and I stayed longer than I should have. Eventually, I did quit that band after 9 months. It's been a couple of years now, and I've been out on my own doing very well. But after I quit the band, I realized I had a lot of healing to do, because I had overinvested myself in the situation, and it ended up draining me of my self-worth and my energy. So when I made the choice to walk away and quit this band, I wrote a letter to the person and very kindly explained my stance that I would no longer be a victim to their abusive and manipulative behaviors, and that for my highest good, I needed to walk away, stand in my power, set some boundaries, and I've never looked back. In the course of the healing from that whole situation, I've arisen. I did an episode recently about being a phoenix rising, and that was one of the situations that I was referring to. So it took a lot of time and a lot of work on my part in isolation to work through the pain that I felt, and I made it worse, as I said, by staying longer than I should have in this band. It made it twice as hard to heal from it, but I did. And I've forgiven that person. And by the way, the next video I will record is a direct message to that person. So back to you. You don't have to start on every aspect that you know you need to heal. As I said, take small steps, just little steps every day towards one or two things, aspects of your healing. Use the journaling, the meditation, self-reflection to help you work through what aspects are most important for your attention at this time. I hope you're doing well and taking good care of yourselves. I will be back soon with this video I told you where I'm addressing this particular person. You might want to tune in case you've been dealing with anyone, a relationship like this in your life. Maybe you'll find some helpful information there. But in the meantime, stay well and have a great day, and I will see you again soon. So that's it. Bye for now.